Hi there, I'm Ed. I'm an avid flight simmer and I've been with SayIntentions for just over 3 months. This video is about using TaxiTuner to edit and model an actual real-world airport. TaxiTuner is a tool created by Ryan at SayIntentions to enable users to edit and correct the default taxiway information in Microsoft Flight Simulator so that the AI can actually see the corrected taxi information and give you taxi instructions which match the actual real-world charts you're using, be it Navigraph, ForeFlight, FAA or whatever. So far, the SayIntentions community has tuned over 1,000 towered airports, mainly in North America and Europe, and the number keeps growing by the day. It's a truly inspiring example of the power of crowdsourcing, and Ryan, who created the code, and Scott, who handles the quality control, have made something pretty awesome. Now, I'm not here to show you all the functionality and how-tos of TaxiTuner. Ryan's already made a really good video which walks you through everything, and I won't attempt to improve on that. I'll leave a link to the video below instead, and I really encourage you to watch it. Instead, I'm going to walk you through the process of taxi-tuning an actual airport from A to Z, from finding the source diagrams through editing to testing and publishing, so that you can see how you might go about it. By the way, my method is not the only method, and I'm sure that some of the more prolific tuners out there will scoff at my clumsy techniques, but all I can show you is how I do it, and I hope it'll generate some ideas and debate. Anyway, with that, let's get going. Okay, so we're in the browser in the TaxiTuner webpage, or app, I'm not quite sure what to call it, and the airport we've chosen to tune today is called Joensuu Airport. It's in southeastern Finland, somewhere near the Russian border. The reason I've chosen this one is twofold. Firstly, it hasn't been done before. You can see here that we're looking at the Asobo default, which means that nobody has tried to tune this, or at least if they have, they haven't made it public. The second reason is that it's a very, very small airport, so whatever I'm going to do today isn't going to take very long, but hopefully it will illustrate all the key principles of taxi tuning. Okay, so before we actually jump in and start editing, the first and very important thing you need to do is to actually find the source information, which is the actual taxi or airport diagram. Now, there are a number of sources for this, and I guess the one that most people use, including me quite often, is the Jeppesen charts that you find in Navigraph. Now, I've already selected EFJO, and we're looking at the airport chart, or the airport page here. And I go into charts, I find under taxi, I find the airport diagram, and here we are. And if we look at this, we can see, okay, there's 2 taxiways, Bravo and Alpha, what looks like an apron there, and a control tower. But this actually illustrates something quite important, which is in the Navigraph charts, or the Jeppesen charts, they're often missing quite a lot of detail. And although I could easily edit this airport from this chart, if you look at more complex airports, you often get into confusion between what's a holding point, what's a taxiway, where's the fuel depot, all that sort of thing. So unless I have to, I tend to avoid using these, and instead the source that I use actually is the Eurocontrol website, which is a wonderful resource because it contains links to the AISs all over the world. So if we go down this list, it basically contains links to the aviation authorities in all the countries in Europe, and indeed all over the world, but we're on the Europe tab at the moment. And I scroll down until I get to Finland, which is where my airport is, and I go to there, and then it's all in Finnish, but fortunately they have got an English version of the website. And then I can go to the AIP, the and this takes us straight to this page, which actually takes us to the very latest AIRAC or AIP for Finland. So go into there, and we're back into the Finnish language, but I'll just click the English link, and I can see there's a link AD2 for aerodromes. So I go into there, and then I find, what was it called, Joensuu, EFJO. Then I go into Joensuu ADC, which stands for Aerodrome Diagram Chart, and get this very blank page, but there's a link to a PDF there. And lo and behold, there's my map of the airport, my chart of the airport. So let's just zoom in and see what we got here. Actually, let me just get into pan mode. Right, okay. So, same information as the Jeppesen chart, but just a little bit more. So we've still got 2 taxiways, Alpha. I'll just get the highlighter out, actually. Yeah, we got 2 taxiways. We got Bravo, this one here, going round to here, and Alpha. And then we have an apron here with a couple of, well, I see 3 parking spots, and another apron here which is called the hangar apron. I'm going to stop trying to highlight things now. And what looks like possibly another little taxiway going this way. I'm not quite sure what that is. Anyway, we will use this as the main diagram because, frankly, I find it far more informative than the Jeppesen version. It's much easier to work with. So now let's go back into the TaxiTuner portal. And the first step is I'm going to create a clone of the airport. So I'll just call this my bad typing. EFJO. Ed's clone EFJO. Clone the selected airport. There, select it. I won't make it I'll make it my default. I won't make it public yet. So now we're actually ready to start editing. Now, I'm just going to zoom in on this. I'm looking at it, and it's kind of all over the place. First thing I can see is that the green one is down here is taxiway Bravo, which is actually should be the apron taxiway. Taxiway Bravo goes this way and then turns into taxiway Alpha. And if we go back to our airport diagram, you can actually see Alpha is the one that's here on the right, and Bravo is the one on the left, and the apron taxiway, or that's the unnamed taxiway, is the parking, is in the middle. So plainly, this version here is all wrong. The second thing I'm noticing is that you can see all these little nodes here coming off these taxiways. They're actually treated as parking spots. And if I go into points mode, yeah, this has got, I'm not going to count them, but it's got probably more than 20 parking spots designated here. Those are the Asobo parking spots, by the way, the ones that you see when you're in the simulator. But if we look back at the chart, we see that we've only actually got 3 parking spots. So that's kind of interesting. So this is actually fairly typical on the aprons. The Asobo model tends to kind of make up a whole lot of taxiways that don't really exist. So we'll have to deal with that. So you know what? Because this is only 2 taxiways and a couple of aprons, rather than try and move things around and change things, I think what I'm going to do is just start from scratch, which means that I'm going to delete everything by selecting everything, and then I'm going to start again. Yes, I do want to delete everything. Good. Okay, so I've got a nice, fresh, clean airport to work with. Go back into view mode. Okay, so Right, so let's see now. The first thing I'll do is I'll create the two main taxiways, which from memory, this one over here is, yep, it's Bravo. So I'm going to start off by creating a taxiway called Bravo. Create, there we go. And I'll start off with the Create Taxiways Anywhere mode, just to get me going. And then I will quickly come out of that mode because it's quite dangerous, and go back into selection mode. Select all of those and name them Bravo. Yeah, we'll deal with the width later, by the way. So let me carry on creating taxiway Bravo. So I'll just go back into create mode. So tick, 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 tick. Then go along this nice long straight line, create a node at the holding point, another node at the division there, and then just click along there, taking great care not to cross the runway center line, because then that will create a little yellow circle. Now the yellow circle doesn't actually matter at this stage, but it does trigger Scott rather, so I try not to do that. Okay, so I'm just creating some more points for this other branch of taxiway Bravo. There we go. So good, we've created our first taxiway. Now I'll just continue onto the apron and go create there. But I don't want these to be taxiway Bravo anymore. This is going to be an unnamed taxiway, so I'll just select them and name them to nothing. Then they go blue. Okay, so back into create mode. Boom. Oops, no, I'm not in create mode. There we go. Boom, boom. Make sure you create nodes whenever you get a little division of the taxiway, like there is here, just to make sure that if the node is there, then you'll be able to create more lines out of it. Okay, so I think that was basically the boundary of the apron. Yeah, it's about there. So from now on, I'll call this next section taxiway Alpha. Just quickly select that. Name to Alpha. Okay, that's made it yellow. Go back into create mode. And so, actually no, I'll just go into move mode there and make that a single node. So take it up to the holding point, and then create from there, create, and then just go around this again. Try not to cross the runway center line, because then you get the ugly yellow circle. In fact, I'll show you that now. Oops, we've gone across the center line. Now you can't see a circle, but if I go into some of the other modes, like view mode, you'll see it, and it looks really ugly. So let's not do that. So I'll just go back into move mode, like that. Pull that there, and then into create mode, and I think I'll end it about there. Good. Okay. So we've now actually created the bones of our airport diagram. The only other thing I'm going to do is go back to the apron, and instead of making up taxiways like a Sobo does, I'll just draw the taxiways as they are by still in create mode. That goes to parking spot 2. This goes to parking spot 1B, I think that is. And this one, oh, there's another node that I have to create a spot at. There we go. And now just finish this off by drawing a taxiway along this line here that I can see, which takes us on to the other smaller apron. Oh yeah, actually there was this other mysterious taxiway, or possibly taxiway, along here, which, oh yes, look, it goes to something that looks like an apron to me. So I think what I'll do is, oh yeah, you can see a little taxiway line. So I think what I'll do is I'll go back in, oh no, I am in create mode. So I'll just create a taxiway coming off Bravo, quickly call it unnamed again, and then back into create mode. Whoops, why am I not in create? There we are. I'll just create a little unnamed taxiway that takes us up to that obviously small apron there, but you can see some aircraft, so it's clearly part of the airport. Okay. Right, so let me just go back into view mode. So we have created the bones of our airport. We haven't named any waypoints yet, any points of interest yet, or done anything like that. But we have created the bones of the actual taxi paths. So the first thing I'm going to do is just test it out to make sure that it will create valid taxi paths from point A to point B. So, for example, if I can right click here, place a start point, and then click, say there, the end of taxiway Bravo, just at the entrance to the runway, place an endpoint. Yep, it'll do it. Slightly odd taxiway there, but it's saying computed taxi path Bravo. If I place my start point there on that mysterious little apron, yep, also Bravo. If I put my start point on this other little apron here, start point, okay, that's fine. But then what happens if I say place my end point here? So it can't compute a taxi path to the runway threshold. And the reason is, and this is common at these airports where you don't have taxiways running parallel to the runway, is that it can't compute a taxi path for backtracking along the runway unless you've actually gone and created that. So that's what I'm going to go and do right now. So I'll just clear both of these guys. Go in here, and I'm going to create a long unnamed taxi path. Going to create mode all the way from here, which is part of taxiway Bravo, all the way down to the threshold of runway 10. Okay, and I'm then going to make sure it doesn't have a name. So what do? Create, no, select. See, I'm not very good at this, am I? Oh yeah, select, there we go, and I'll just save it as unnamed. There, you see it's turned blue. While we're about it, I'll just do the other end as well. So go back into create mode. God, this is a long runway, isn't it? Huge runway for such a tiny airport. And then, whoops, why did I do that? Clumsy. Okay, go back into select mode. delete that one. Okay, and then also select there and unnamed, save. Good. Okay. Right, so let's just try that now. Let me create a taxi path from the main apron here to there. Endpoint. Yeah, okay, it's got it. That's taxi via Bravo, and if I put the endpoint here at the end of the other end of the runway, I can't remember its number at the moment. Yeah, then it creates a taxi path alpha. This is obviously a childishly simple airport, but I'm just doing this so you can show how the process and the flow. Okay, so it looks like we've actually got some viable taxiways and diagrams. Now, the next thing to do, and this is important, maybe not important at the moment, but I think it will be important in the future, is to set the taxiway widths. Because I'm not sure if the AI is modeling this at the moment, but I'm sure it will in due course. The AI should be sending aircraft down taxiways which are an appropriate width for them. So we want to find the taxiway widths, and we could do it using the measurement tool in Google Maps to estimate the width of the individual taxiways in feet. But the way I prefer to do it is to go back into the AIP document for the relevant airport. Let's just find it again where we are. Joensuu, yep. Joensuu. No, not that one. There we go. Joensuu. If you look through this document, which is the aerodrome information document, basically, certainly in European airports, I'm not sure about North American ones, if you go to section 2.8, it actually lists the taxiways, and it shows you their length, their width rather, in meters in this case, because it's Europe. Now, this is actually quite useful because it does help settle the debate about what are taxiways and what are holding points, because this document is saying very clearly there are two taxiways, Alpha and Bravo. That's it, no more. And this is also telling us that Alpha has a width of 24 meters. So we can now go back into the TaxiTuner, select, what did I say was 24 meters? Alpha is 24 meters. Right, go back into TaxiTuner, and we can select taxiway Alpha. Quick way to do that is actually just click up on the legend at the top. At the moment, it's only letting us actually put in the width in feet, but pause here while he gets out the calculator. What was it? 25 meters times 3.28. So that's 82 foot is the width of that particular of taxiway Alpha. So I can put in 82. I do wish that we had the option to input this in meters instead. Taxiway Bravo, just to remind us of that one, 18 meters. Okay, so 18 meters is, let's just see now, 18 times 3.28 is 59 feet. Okay, so I can select taxiway Bravo at the moment, and I'll put in the width 59 feet. Save. And then this last section here, just to select this particular little taxiway that oops, not there. That little unnamed taxiway that I created to the mystery apron, which doesn't show up on the Jefferson charts, but does show up on the official chart. I will also set that to 59 feet because effectively it's not in the documentation, but effectively it's a continuation of taxiway Bravo. So save that. I don't really mind about the width of taxiways on the apron. So if I select that, for example, oops, it's saying at the moment it's 100 feet, but that's fine. It doesn't really matter because it's an apron. So there's not much point in editing those. Right. Okay, so we've basically done our airport now, and at this stage, I could just send it to Scott for approval, and he would either approve it or come back with some pointing out some error that I've made. But this is such a tiny airport, I doubt there's too many. But while we're here, I think I will also just show you how to create some points and parking. So on this, you will see all these black pins here are actually the Asobo parking spots. Now, these are completely fictitious. There are only 3 named parking spots in this airport. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to delete all of these. I wish I could do a bulk delete, by the way, Ryan. It would be lovely to be able to just, bulk select, edit parking, do a bulk select, and then actually delete them. But there doesn't appear to be an option for that. So I'll just click that off. So what I'll do is I'm going to click these one by one and just remove the lot of them. So this will get speeded up, I hope, in the edit. Okay, so that's all the bogus parking spots removed. And what we're left with is some actual candidate parking spots. Now, if you look in these little grey pins here, they appear at the end of any line with a node that doesn't go anywhere else. And so it's saying that this is possibly a parking spot. And you can confirm that by clicking on the grey pin and naming it. Now, from memory, no, don't rely on my memory. It's always a bad idea. That's parking spot 2, and then next to it is 1A and 1B. So go in here, so that's called 2, and I'll save it. And now you can see the pin has turned black, and that means it is now remembering that as a parking spot named 2. This here is called 1A. Save. Yep. In fact, you can see it on the actually. Don't need to look at the chart. You can actually see it on the paint. And this is 1B. Save. So I've now created 3 actual parking spots, which the AI will know where they are. You can see here at the end of this line, for example, though, it's proposing another parking spot, which, if I named it, would actually be wrong, because it's not a parking spot. It's just the end of a taxiway line that leads onto this apron, and there aren't any lines or named parking spots here, so I'm not going to name any either. Same here at the end of this little line onto this small apron. Right, what else can we do? Although it's not on the charts, I think it's a good idea when you find these holding points to name them as ground points. So this could give the AI the opportunity to say, hold at holding point Bravo, or you to say to it, I'm holding at holding point Bravo, and it will know where you are. So let me just name this one holding point Bravo. Save. There you see it's turned yellow, and then this one I shall call holding point Alpha. Save. Okay, what else have we got? Right, so we've got 3 aprons. The big one here, then this one off to the right, and then this one here to the south. Let's see their names. Okay, very imaginative, these fins. This main one is just called Apron. This one, on the other hand, is called the Hanger Apron. And this one is the Nameless Apron. It has no name. Right, let's go and put those in. That's not the Hanger Apron. God, get your shit together, Ed. Come on. Apron. That's the main apron, right? This one is the Hanger Apron. And this one I'm going to call it the Mystery Apron. So, if you ever fly into this place and ask ATC to send you to the Mystery Apron, it will know what to do. What else? So it's pointing here to a tower and here to a hangar. So I'll just put those into the diagram. So I'm going to call this tower. It's a good idea, by and large, despite what I did with the Mystery Apron, to follow whatever names are on the ICAO chart. Hangar. Save. Great. So, you know what? I think we're done, actually. And this is such a tiny, small airport that it's taken me kind of half an hour or whatever, and I've done everything. And I've been going slowly as well. Obviously, bigger airports take much longer and they have much more detail, and you got to puzzle over the charts a lot more. But yeah, this was really just to illustrate the workflow. So the last thing, I'm actually happy with this now. So the last thing I'm going to do is make this public, like so. And then all I have to do is go into Discord, which I'm not going to show you me typing in Discord, and then create a post in the TaxiTuner channel called, and the post will be called something like EFJO Joensson Finland, with a couple of screenshots, and then hopefully Scott will approve it. Or he'll come back and say, hey, Ed, you've got this wrong, and you got that wrong, and you got the other wrong. But that's fine. I've got no problem with that, because Scott is really, really good at picking up mistakes and making sure that all the crowdsourcing work that we're doing for in this TaxiTuner endeavor is actually accurate and makes sense and doesn't produce ridiculous taxi instructions. So thank you, Scott, and thank you, Ryan, as well, for making this amazing piece of software. I'm really, really enjoying using it, and it's kind of hypnotic. Yeah, anyway. All right, so that's it for now, and thank you for watching and your patience and enduring this all to the end if you've made it this far, and I'll talk to you the next time. Cheers.